Welcome. That was too loud. So you're a writer and you're a musician. What are some things you do to get into that space where the ideas flow freely, or you feel a little more innovative, creative, just in your own leadership of yourself and the things that you're creating for yourself?
Yeah, it's very hard to do. And it's something that I've had to work on. And some people have like called out in me because I remember when I was pretty early on in my worship leader career, I had my boss came up to me and was like, "You're too busy." Like, I was like, "No, I'm not. Like, I'm not necessarily going over my hours. I don't really feel like I'm filling my time, but I'm not necessarily like working 60 hours a week." She's like, no. In your allotted time, you have too many things on your plate. I didn't really necessarily feel that. I was just like, oh, I always have things to do. And she's like, I don't want you to always have things to do. You need to create specific times for you to think. And it was the first time anyone had ever told me, you should have free time. Because I remember that guilt that I used to have. Like if someone walked in and I was sitting on the couch, like if my dad walked in and I was like, I had been cleaning all day or like mowing the lawn all day. And for 2 minutes I sat down, but he came in when I was just sitting down. I felt so guilty. Like, look at all the things that I did. I did this. I wrote this. And, like I had to show people that I was productive. But I recently listened to a podcast, and I've mentioned this one a couple times. It's incredible. You should go check it out. Dang it, I don't remember what it's called, but it's Jefferson Bethke and John Mark Comer talking about hustle and hurry, and they were talking about how you're actually more productive and more efficient in the work that you are doing when you are not hustling super hard, when you're not working overtime, when you're not going 100 miles per hour. When you slow down and allow yourself and your brain to kind of slow down and do one thing at a time, you're actually more efficient and you do a better job. So for me, I've noticed that a lot. On Wednesdays, I lead for students. And when I come up with a bunch of things to do just to get things done, and then I go into the night, I'm less intentional with how I'm leading my students. And yesterday I experienced a time where I had like 2 hours, and I just went into my office, I shut the door, and I sat on my comfy chair, and I pulled out my Bible, and I just processed the new song that we were going to sing that night. And I just I read the lyrics, and I prayed, and I just like asked God to show me something new, to kind of direct me as like, what do my students need to hear? Like asking myself questions, open-ended questions, and praying those open-ended questions to allow space for the Holy Spirit to inspire words. And then I sit down and then I like write from there. And I'm not the kind of person who like can think and process and then write. Like it all happens at once. So when I sit down to write a blog, like it's kind of like that, where I'm like, okay, I want to be inspired, I think, but then I like just start writing, and it kind of unfolds on itself. But it all stems from like this place of giving yourself time to really, ask open-ended questions and ask God open-ended questions for him to be able to step in.
Yeah. You mentioned at the beginning of all of that, the shame and the guilt that you would feel. And that is something that I also had to get over and become secure in within my mountain of, I felt like if people knew that I was reading, or if people knew that I was just thinking or just praying or, just being quiet for a little bit, they'd be like, you're wasting time, you're wasting money, you're not being efficient. And I think that's more of a cultural thing than anything
For sure.
like you were talking about is, the hustle, the hurry. If you're not moving, you're losing. And that really took, I've said this a couple of times, but I think it's important to hear that when you are leading yourself or when you're leading other people, everything comes internally. And you're either being intentional with your thoughts, or you're being habitual with your thoughts, or you're being ignorant of your thoughts. And you need to see yourself as a thought leader, which means you need to give time to tend those things.